Good afternoon, guys. We are going to show you the parts and the uses of the engines. Cylinder block. It is the main part of the IC or internal combustion engine. It is the part where all the function of the engine takes place inside it, such as intake, suction, compression, combustion, exhaust, etc. This is the cylinder head. The cylinder head is the top cover of the engine cylinder, which cover the cylinder from top side to seal the cylinder and does not give a permanent to air and gas to enter and exit from the system. The head is made as per design requirements by cast iron or aluminum by the manufacturer process for forging or casting. This is the piston. A piston slides inside the cylinder in reciprocating motion and transfer mechanical energy to the crankshaft. The piston is designed in such a way that is strong, light, and sufficient to handle the pressure and the temperature, which is generated after the combustion of fuel. This is the piston rings. Piston rings are used to providing the sealing effect between the cylinder and the piston. There are two types of piston ring, the oil controller ring and the compressor ring. Compressor ring transfer heat from the piston to the cylinder liner and it's inserted into the top groove of the piston. The oil controller ring maintain the proper lubrication between the cylinder and the piston and placed under the pressure ring. This is the connecting rod. A connecting rod is used to connect the piston to the crankshaft with the help of a piston pin and crank pin. Piston pin. Piston pin connects the piston to the connecting rod at small end. It also called a guardian pin. A piston pin is made up of hollow for lightweight. This is a camshaft. A camshaft on an internal combustion heat engine is a device that controls both the input of fuel and the explosion of the exhaust fumes. It consists of several radial cams, each displacement intakes or exhaust valves. This camshaft is connected to the crankshaft via belt, chain, or gears. This is the crankshaft. In an engine, the crankshaft receives the power or effort or thrust by the piston through the connecting rod and transmit this power of reciprocating motion of the piston in the rotary motion of the crankshaft, which is further connected to the flywheel and transmission shaft, which is used to move the vehicle. Crankshaft made by casting and forging process using the materials of alloy steel or cast iron.
Oil pan. Oil pan is the part of the engine lubrication system and the act as a receptacle for the engine oil located directly under the engine. An important feature of the oil pan is the drain plug, which is utilized for oil changes. Oil pan gasket. Oil pan gasket seals the oil pan to the bottom of the engine. Block of the prevent oil from leaking as it moves from the pan to the engine in back.
There are two types of valve, intake and exhaust valve. Intake and exhaust valve both are responsible for regulate and control the charge of air in the fuel mixture for coming and burning in the combustion chamber, and thereafter to go out the charge of the air from the engine cylinder. Both valves are situated either on the cylinder head or on the cylinder walls in the bar shape, generally mushroom shape exceed. Distributor. A distributor is an enclosed rotating shaft used in spark ignition internally combustion engines that have mechanical time ignition. This distributor main function is to route secondary or high voltage current from the ignition coil to the spark plugs and the correct powering order, and for the correct amount of time. Manifold. The intake manifold is connected to inlet valves. It is the pipe that helps to provide air-fuel mixture into the engine for proper combustion. Whereas diesel engine intake manifold used for brings only air to the combustion chamber. Exhaust manifold is responsible for taking out the exhaust gases from the combustion chamber after combustion, which is further connected to exhaust valves, and its design and construction as the same of the inlet manifold. Combustion chamber. The combustion chamber is enclosed with the cylinder head, walls, piston head where the combustion of fuel has occurred. Aluminum is used as a material in the combustion chamber because it dissipates heat higher than cast iron. In the combustion chamber, 4 round holes are used for valve to reside. Spark plug tube. The spark plug tube is a sealing element that goes around the spark plug allowing installation and removal and allowing the engine to run without putting the plug in an oil bath and resulting in it not working. It's usually a rolled metal tube made of sheet steel or aluminum and welded together. The valve cover will have an elastomer set against the top of the tube and the bottom is often retained by the shell of the spark plug wrapper.
Ito po ay tensioner at ito po ang nagbibigay tension dito sa ating timing chain. At makikita mo dito sa may timing chain, may dalawang kakaibang kulay. At ito pong isa, nakakabit ito dito sa may timing mark na nakakabit sa camshaft gear. Ganito po. At ito naman pong isa, crankshaft gear. Dito rin nakalagay sa may kakaibang kulay ng timing chain. Ganyan po. At itong tensioner, dito po. Water pump. The purpose of water pump is to provide continuously circulate the engine coolant. Ito po ay nakakabit sa cylinder block at dito pumapasok ang coolant na nanggagaling sa cylinder block at binabalik niya sa radiator. Dito rin po nakalagay ang water pump pulley.
Oil filter. Oil filter removes waste too. It captures harmful debris, dirt, and metal fragments in your motor oil to keep your car's engine running smoothly. Without oil filter, harmful particles can get into your motor oil and damage the engine. Filtering out the junk means your motor oil stays cleaner and longer. Oil strainer. Oil strainer is to remove system debris from the refrigerant oil. Their purpose is to protect from compressor and oil level regulators from damage. Valve cover with valve cover gasket. Valve cover gasket seal the valve cover to the top portion of the engine cylinder head. The gasket prevents motor oil from leaking out as it travels around the camshaft, rocker, and valves. Rocker arm. Rocker arm is an internal combustion engine. It's an oscillating lever that changes radial movements into linear movements. This kind of a device is properly known as a reciprocating lever. With the help of the spinning motion of the hover head camshaft that opens and closes the valve and turns it into the up and down movements. Rocker arms are generally made of steel. Rocker arms have contained high strength for their weight and employed a good deal of leverage. So both rocker arms and push rod are used in automotive vehicle in opening and closing all valves and to make transmission better cranked and to the camshaft. Depend upon the engine block and their up head, block and down head, so it depends on which engine we are using. Rocker arm is used to thrust the spring to opening and closing of inlet and exhaust valves.